Thank you so much for being with us on this Monday, September 15th. Hoping everybody had a safe, happy, and healthy weekend. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, and this is Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase the latest on what's expected weather-wise across the western United States. You'll find forecasts from our meteorologists in Colorado, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, and Arizona. It is the final full week of summer. Hard to believe it. It may feel like fall already in some areas, but technically the fall equinox starts 1 week from today. And this is the sweet spot in the year when the summer heat is backing off a little, but we still have pleasant days. And the active winter weather is not here yet. That is the theme for a large part of the West Coast today and in the coming days as well. Really nice conditions. Today, we will start in Denver, where that transition to colder days ahead is beginning. Our team in Denver is watching the first taste of snow for higher elevations in Colorado.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We have been enjoying some cooler weather around here and some beneficial moisture. For Denver, it's come in the form of rain, but over the weekend, a light dusting of snow over some of the higher peaks. And we've also had some strange severe weather out across western Colorado, where a tornado was reported a day or so ago. We've got high pressure scooting off to the east, low pressure beginning to lift north away from the area. So we're going to start this week with warm, dry weather and temperatures warmer than yesterday. Yesterday, the high was 71. Today, our forecast high is 84. We may be done with the 90-degree temperatures for Colorado. It seemed like it was going to be such a hot summer, like a record hot summer, but so far, only 47 days with 90 or better. That's just 1 day above the average of 46. And really, we don't have a lot of really warm weather coming in over the next week or two. And the autumnal equinox, of course, is on the 22nd, so fall will be here in just a matter of days. Today, we're tracking low pressure lifting north over northern Nebraska, setting off a line of severe weather outside of Minneapolis, Kansas City, and Dallas, where it is possible we could be dealing with some type of weather and airport delays throughout the day. But the severe thunderstorm risk for Colorado is low, and that should be the case throughout the remainder of today and probably much of the upcoming week. We have a few high clouds coming in, maybe enough moisture with heating of the day and isolated gusty foothill storm, but the trend will be for mostly sunny skies and a warmer day today with highs warming into the mid-80s. After a chilly start, we'll be in the 40s overnight tonight. As a matter of fact, there's a frost advisory out this morning for the San Luis Valley, areas like Alamosa dipping into the lower 30s. We have a cool weather trend for Tuesday and Wednesday, along with a chance for showers ahead of a warming and drying trend. We're back to sunshine and 80s by the time we hit next weekend.
Happy Monday. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. We are coming off an inclement weekend in the weather department. We saw the leaves change, the snow fall over higher terrain in the high country. It's a gorgeous start to the week, but you can see over the weekend we picked up some snow over about 13,000 feet in the high country. If you're wondering, is this typical for this time of the year? Yes, very seasonal to see some of that early snow over places like our 14ers, Maroon Bells, Longs Peak picked it up. Pikes Peak actually saw its first snow down to the south on September 5th. It's classic fall time here in Colorado, right on schedule in the early to mid parts of September to see that first little dusting of snow on our high mountain peaks. Are you dreaming of ski season? Well, we are looking ahead for today. Projected first opening dates for our ski resorts: Wolf Creek looking at the end of October, Arapahoe Basin early November, Keystone right now shooting for November 8th. It all depends on just how much snow it makes. The resorts are able to make the temperatures and also, of course, Mother Nature. Most all of our resorts will open after Thanksgiving. So as we look ahead, it is shoulder season technically here for the mountains. Slightly above average temperatures are expected for the rest of the month of September. It's actually kind of great that we've seen quite a bit of precipitation over the past several weeks. Recent rain and snow will slow our leaf peeping season slightly later. So if you are planning a trip or want to go see the golden aspen leaves, you still have time. We are bracing bracing for a weaker La Nina pattern, but as we've looked ahead at some of those extended forecasts, it is favoring northern and central Colorado, so we are hoping, keeping our fingers crossed, for a pretty decent ski season. But we still have a ways to go. The official fall equinox is on September 22nd, but a great time to be out and about enjoying all that Colorado has to offer, from the mountains to the plains, with some leaves changing and a lot of activities to be done, especially as we head into this coming weekend where it will be milder and mainly dry.
Colorado is lovely year-round. Now let's head a bit south to Arizona, where we're still dancing around the century mark, but triple digits are inching out of the forecast. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries is in Phoenix with the final stretch of summer heat, maybe, and some tropical moisture kicking in from the south.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. We'll look at your weather out west across the great state of Arizona, where we are status quo. That means plenty of sunshine and, yeah, a lot of sunshine for our sunflowers. Love this. One of our 12 News weather watchers getting outside over the weekend simply because temperatures were so manageable, especially by our definition of what heat is. Our numbers were barely in the low 100s, which meant the bulk of the day we were spending time in the double digits. For still summertime, yeah, that's not too bad. On this Monday across Arizona, as you can see, temperatures, they're going to warm up a smidge. Remember, the normal range for us this time of the year is now 101 degrees in Phoenix. We're going to elevate to 104, but I expect to see even warmer numbers on the board by tomorrow. So courtside, going for about 102, still pretty picture perfect in Havasu at 102, 76 today in Flagstaff, 88 in Sedona, and right about 99 in Tucson. As far as the monsoon meter, remember our monsoon season goes through September 30th, and we still have a little bit of action bubbling up on southeast Arizona. The rest of us not going to see any kind of moisture, but that is going to change as we get into the work week. So for today, look, these storms are minimal at best, very compact, very isolated, but remember, it's tropical energy, so we never want to discount it, and especially around the Tucson area, just be ready for that late afternoon pop-up shower, primarily in the higher elevations. Now, over the next 3 days, well, numbers are going to warm up tomorrow, but as you can see, we don't have much action on the board. It is going to kind of be just high and dry here for the next 3 days. Changes will be coming around, however, by Thursday. Watch this. And remember, this starts on Wednesday. We get into Thursday. Look at the substantial cloud cover. And yes, we are going to start to see these widespread showers developing on Thursday. And then I expect them to be peaking on Friday. This does include the metro, even though much of the moisture is going to be surrounding the region. As you can see, darker banding at time, the prime time for this action after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when we get that warming element to help produce these showers. So this monsoon moisture, it's going to surge once again starting on Wednesday, peaking on Friday, and then it does look to start to dry out on Saturday. So by the days and the numbers, high country precipitation chances going from 20% on Thursday up to 60% on Friday and starting to taper off by Saturday. For the valley, we've got 10%, so it's starting to develop on Thursday, but then our peak will be on Friday, dwindling by Saturday morning. The whole reason for this is that Tropical Storm Mario releasing quite a bit of moisture our direction, so you can see rainfall through Saturday at 10 o'clock does look to be substantial in the higher elevations. Kind of an afterthought here in Phoenix, but simply because we have moisture around us, just be ready for a pop-up shower or two. Otherwise, temperatures are going to hang out in the low 100s. I've got 102 today in Buckeye, about 104 in Laveen, 103 in Glendale. Sunny and warming is the call on this Monday. We'll see pretty clear skies, just a couple thin clouds to the east and to the south. As far as the wind goes, a little bit of wind around the 4 o'clock hour. That's just a sign that that moisture is moving through to the south. And as the sun goes down, of course, we're going to peel off that layer of the atmosphere, deal with a little bit of wind, see a couple thin clouds, otherwise mostly clear conditions and dropping down to about 81. Tomorrow, numbers will continue to warm. I am looking for highs at about 105 in Phoenix, 78 in Flagstaff. But remember, as we look ahead, the rain event should start beginning on Thursday in the higher elevations, dropping into major play by Friday, which does include the valley. And because of the cloud cover, because of the moisture coming in, our numbers are going from 105 to about 97 by Friday.
3 days in the 90s, it must be almost fall. Up next, we're headed to the Golden State from northern to southern California. Summer is still hanging on in some areas, but rain is sneaking into the forecast in others. We'll time out where and when in California after the break. Welcome back to Weather Out West. That tropical moisture we discussed in Arizona is also impacting Southern California. Let's get to meteorologist Vanessa Paz in San Diego with that track.
Well, happy Monday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Here's what it looked like earlier along the coast. A lot of us sucked in those clouds thanks to that marine layer, but we'll see a lot less of them as we progress through the week as high pressure kind of rebounds. Here's what it looked like over the weekend. I mean, it was just glorious across the region. We saw much sunshine spanning from the coast all the way towards the desert areas, and we also saw very comfortable temperatures. I mean, we finally had a relief from that heat that we've been enduring, along with that mugginess, but unfortunately it looks like it's going to make a return looking ahead to this week. So here are the headlines as we get the new work week going. Today we will transition into a warming pattern. We are going to be warm and tropical like throughout the week, especially for the county's eastern half, and we're looking at stormy conditions for the mountains and desert areas in the coming days, but the models are showing that a lot of that instability will likely spill into the coast and inland valleys, all due to this area of low pressure. It's going to usher in some subtropical moisture, and it's going to bring the chances for increasing clouds, warm temperatures, along with the chance for some shower activity, and that could be widespread. We'll know the closer we get to the middle of the week. So here's what I have for today's highs. We will be slightly warmer. We'll top out in the high 70s for the coastal areas, low 90s and high 80s for the inland and mountain areas, and we'll top out in that triple-digit heat when it comes to our desert communities. Here's that day-by-day chance for rain. So notice how it's slim to none today, and then tomorrow is our transition day into that easterly flow, which will bring a lot more moisture into the mix. It looks like the greatest chances of seeing some thunderstorm activity will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, potentially spilling into the weekend. But as of right now, that activity does peak middle of the week. So looking ahead at our future cast, again, this looks a little ominous. This is our European model, which usually tends to be on the ambitious side when it comes to showcasing the precipitation chances. Looks like we will have that precipitable moisture moving into the region as early as Wednesday night, and it could very well be widespread. So we have this area of low pressure, and what it is it's bringing in a lot of that monsoonal moisture in addition to that ridge of high pressure. So we have two systems that are kind of bringing in that southern and easterly flow into the region in the coming days, and that's going to increase the chances for rain for the county's eastern half, along with those muggy conditions. So even those areas that don't see any rain, they'll certainly feel that monsoonal moisture in the form of higher humidity levels. All right, so here's what I have on top for tomorrow's highs versus where we should be for this time of the year. Notice how daytime highs are going to continue to creep above average. So we were below average over the past couple of days, and now we'll be a little above average looking ahead to Tuesday. Some areas will be about 6 degrees warmer than normal, including Ramona as well as Palomar Mountain. So we're looking at mostly high 70s to low 80s along the coastal areas, and for the inland valleys, we'll be touching into the high 80s and low 90s. Tonight is going to be pretty mild along the coastal areas. We'll be in the high 60s. We'll touch high 60s for some of the inland valleys as well, from Poway all the way towards Miramar. A little cooler for areas like Ramona. Meanwhile, we'll bottom out in the high 60s for Julian, high 70s later on tonight for Borrego Springs. Here's what's on top over the next 7 days. So today's going to be warm, and we will only see those temperatures continue to rise. We have a little bit of a drop as that monsoonal flow kind of comes in Wednesday and Thursday, and then temperatures will start to rise again Friday all the way through the weekend. So overall, you can just plan for warm weather. We'll be in the 90s and high 80s for interior parts of the county through most of the week. And again, even if despite some of those numbers dropping tomorrow, it will feel uncomfortable outside because of that increasing moisture entering the mix. For the inland, for the mountain areas, rather, we'll be in the high 80s for tomorrow afternoon, dropping down about 5 to nearly 10 degrees tomorrow or Wednesday, and that is because of that surge of monsoonal moisture. We'll have the increase of clouds, so the sun won't be warming up the atmosphere as quickly. Low hundreds in the desert areas for tomorrow afternoon, then we're back in the 90s by the middle of the week.
Thanks, Vanessa. Summer is not done in Northern California. Meteorologist Rob Carlmark is in Sacramento with the forecast.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Rob Carmack here in Northern California, and we've got some interesting weather in some ways, but in some ways it's just an easy forecast to understand. High pressure, once it moves in on the west coast, it shuts down anything unusual, and then we really just focus on the temperatures and some of the microclimates. So we break things up here with the coast, then we've got the valley spots, the foothills, which is the lower elevations of the Sierra, and then the Sierra is more of the higher elevations, places like Tahoe or Truckee, places that you probably remember or have heard about. So for the coast, it's going to be breezy with onshore wind. For the valley, lots of sunshine, warming temperatures. For the foothills, we've got a really special vacation spot, and for locals as well, called Apple Hill. It's everything fall. It's apple cider, it's all sorts of baked treats. It's just, your classic fall tourist trap, but also locals love it. That's now open, so people are really starting to get into the mood of fall, which is very close. And then the Sierra, for travel, we are all good to go. We've had lots of thunderstorms recently. Now the roads are all dry, and it's all about the warming temperatures. So when you look at September at a glance, it was hot to start. Labor Day was 103 degrees, the hottest day of the year so far, tied with another day that was at 103. And for our local summer, it's not been bad at all. 103, if that's the high point, that is a good summer. And then right after that, lots of cooler days in the 80s for a very long time. That 78 on the 9th of September was the first high in the 70s since the end of May. It was more than 100 days in a row that we hit highs in the 70s. So that was a really nice cool day. Then lots of 80s through the weekend. Then we had a normal temperature for this time of the year on Sunday with 88. Our average high this time of the year is 89. So we've got officially 1 week until fall, but mentally we're starting to go there. But the weather has different ideas. We're going to be looking at some late summer heat to really wrap things up. And you know what? This time of year is troublesome because what happens is that we start to see the days get shorter noticeably. We still have some late season heat, but the vegetation is very dry. And even though this year we're way below the 5-year average and just a little bit above where we were last year, everybody's just in a holding pattern until we get that first big rain. That first big rain knocks out any of the existing fires. We still have one smoldering one near Fresno that's been causing a little bit of smoke, but for the most part, smoke-wise, we're okay. And then it gets the ground wet. We start to see the natural grasses get going, and then we can start to breathe a sigh of relief as fire season is coming to a close. But we're not there yet. We have a very strong and unfortunate history of fire season going well into October, November, December, and then last year in LA all the way until January. So we're just kind of waiting for that first big rain. That's really what sets the tone. As far as water goes, we've been in good shape for a while. All of our big reservoirs are less than they were in spring, but still in really, really great shape. Again, once high pressure locks in, we are going to see very settled weather for a while. It's all about how warm we get. We've got something called the Delta breeze, which is an onshore wind right there, and that's not going to be very strong. So when that shuts down, the temperatures everywhere start to respond. We're looking at hot weather for this time of year in every single location, even for the higher terrain. 80 today for Truckee, 83 for Forest Hill. That's one of those foothill communities. We've got 90 for Oakhurst and 88 for Maricopa. These are some of the gateways to Yosemite National Park. Right along the coast, it's a different story. This is some of the best weather you're going to find anywhere in the country, with highs in the 70s, Bay Area as well. There's a reason why everyone wants to live in the Bay. The weather's usually pretty good, especially this time of the year, and we're looking at solid 70s or 80s. Redding and other spots nearby are looking at solid mid-90s. In Sacramento, we're going to see highs in the 90s. And overall, folks, this is going to be a hot forecast for us with highs in the 90s. We're getting close to 100, although I don't think we're going to get there by Wednesday, and then cooling just in time for the weekend.
Thank you, Rob. And if you were listening to him, he said Apple Hill is a fun place to be, but he called it a tourist trap. Rob, I take personal offense to that. As someone born and raised in Sacramento, we would go all the time, and it was a blast. You should go if you're ever in Northern California. All right, up next, we are going to venture up I-5 to the Pacific Northwest. Washington, Oregon, and Idaho's forecasts are still ahead. Welcome back to Weather Out West. It is weather whiplash in the Northwest. After a wet weekend, rapid warming is jolting places like Washington and Oregon. Let's start with meteorologist Chris McGinnis in Portland with Oregon's forecast.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Chris McGinnis. After our first really good soaking rain of September and the most meaningful rainfall since June, one-day rainfall. We are, well, setting the stage for a foggy morning and then a really nice work week forecast ahead. First off, a look back at yesterday. This is significant. Portland picked up nearly 2/3 of an inch of rain. Salem just shy of 9/10 of an inch of rain yesterday morning. Now, the clouds and the rain obviously cleared out, and that set the stage for a very chilly morning and eventually fog. PDX got down to 49 degrees at least this morning, our coolest temperature since mid-June. So with that in mind, the low, or the chilly temps, I should say, and the residual moisture from yesterday's rain have allowed a low cloud deck to develop over downtown Portland. This is the look from our Rose City Sky Camera. Temperatures have warmed a bit, up to 54 last check. Just to show you some perspective here for how thin that cloud deck is, we take you up to 6,000 feet on Mount Hood. Our Timberline camera pointed south towards Mount Jefferson and the Three Sisters off in the distance. And you can see that really thin cloud deck here working its way up into the nooks and crannies of the Cascades. That will retreat fairly quickly this morning, erode, dissolve, burn away, evaporate, disappear, and we will eventually finish with sunshine. So here's a look at Futurecast. And again, the brief morning cloud cover that we have is gone, not even depicted here on Futurecast by lunchtime and heading into the afternoon. It should be a really nice day today. Fast forward into the overnight hours, we begin to develop an east breeze, and that's significant for two reasons. One, it will really dry the humidity, lower the relative humidity, and it will also help to keep temperatures pretty warm overnight tonight. So this morning we're waking up to temperatures in the 40s. Tomorrow morning, some folks may not get below 60, especially in the west end of the Columbia River Gorge. The other thing that offshore breeze will do tomorrow is when you take air from higher elevation and bring it down the mountain, you warm it. You get a little compressional heating there as well. And so with that in mind, we're going to see a big jump in temperatures as we go into our Tuesday forecast. All right, at the beach today, morning low clouds and fog for some of us. That will lift pretty quickly. Some folks are already seeing sunshine with temperatures in the 70s, we think, for Astoria. Cascade Locks gets to near 80. Same story in the Dalles. The East Gorge looking nice with that increasing east breeze later today. Morning low clouds and fog across southwest Washington will lift pretty quickly. We're already clear in the Willamette Valley. McMinnville gets up to about 77 this afternoon and warmer tomorrow. Here's a look at Futurecast across the region. Again, upper 60s to near 70 possible at the Oregon coast with a bit of an offshore breeze starting to develop later this afternoon. That should really juice your temperatures up a few degrees as we go into Tuesday. Meanwhile, the east side of the state, after a cool start, Burns started off the morning in the 20s. You will finish in the 70s for daytime highs today. Quite a temperature contrast here across the high desert. All right, fast forward into tonight. Again, our modeling suggesting Portland lows may not get below 60 degrees, and that's actually believable because if the breeze sets up, in the wee hours of the morning, that could easily keep our temperatures up several degrees and set the stage, the springboard for what will be a pretty hot day, we think, tomorrow. It's not unusual to hit 90 this late in the year, but it's not record heat per se. I've got us at 80, 88 tomorrow, Longview 88, 89, Portland 92, Salem. Certainly and easily the warmest day of the next several. And then we'll dial back the heat a little bit as we head into Wednesday and the remainder of the week. So 76 today, looks glorious this afternoon. I've got us at 58 for a low tonight, but if the east breeze cranks up earlier than anticipated, the airport and up towards Troutdale and getting out towards the gorge, temperatures could easily stay in the 60s early tomorrow morning. And that, as we mentioned, sets the stage for that really warm day tomorrow. Cooler Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the next chance of rain looks like it materializes sometime late Saturday or early Sunday.
Washington is feeling a similar game of ping pong with the forecast. Meteorologist Rich Marriott is in Seattle with what might be the final taste of summer heat in Western Washington.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott, and we're headed into our last full week of summer. It's going to arrive officially just a week from today, so you want to get out and enjoy the sunshine and warmth while it's still sticking around, and it is going to be around today. We started with a lot of clouds early this morning, but they started clearing before daybreak, and still clearing in some places, but there in Port Angeles, they've pretty much cleared out entirely. There's blue skies out there. Still seeing a few clouds up around Bellingham, but Whatcom County is going to clear out to plenty of sunshine this afternoon. And similarly there, Everett, as late as maybe about 6 o'clock, they were still mostly cloudy, but already out into sunshine, and they're about the same for Tacoma. Checking out along the coast at Westport, still some fog and low clouds out there, but it's usually a little bit slower to clear, and today they'll make it out this afternoon, see some sunshine. Should see high temperatures out there along the coastal beaches, getting to the mid-60s, pretty typical for this time of the year. Checking in the lows from this morning, we're down most places into the upper 40s and low 50s, though we did see Bremerton drop down to 41 degrees. Overnight, though, you're seeing these overnight lows gradually get lower simply because we have the extended darkness, and those shorter daylight hours definitely starting to take a toll on our overnight low temperatures. Looking at the first alert, or rather taking a look at the countdown to fall, again, just 7 days until it arrives officially next Monday at 11:19 a.m. We switch officially from summer to spring, and that's the sun should be right over the equator at that point, and then continuing to head south for the next 6 months, as many of us will want to do at some point during the winter. Our first alert 7-day forecast, well, we've got sunshine today and comfortable temperatures. We have like a one-day heat wave tomorrow. We're going to see high pressure build in later today, and with that, we are going to be looking for those temperatures tomorrow to go up 10 to 15 degrees, and we're going to develop offshore winds, which are going to give us gusty winds down the Cascade foothills, which potentially is going to be giving us increased fire danger for tomorrow, simply because we have such dry fuels around western Washington. As we have been only last for the day, though, we're back down into the low to mid 70s on Wednesday, and the low to mid 70s kind of stick with us through the remainder of the work week before we see a few showers as we head into the weekend. Satellite image, you can see we've got high pressure off the coast, that nice clear area out there. That's going to be pushing in later today and then move on through here tomorrow. And as it builds east of the Cascades, we'll get that offshore wind that's going to be giving us wind gusts of 20 to 30 miles per hour. It's going to be primarily near the Cascade foothills, it looks like, but though usually in this situation, also places will channel, especially below some of the lower passes like Snoqualmie. You'll see some of those winds make it all the way out to Maple Valley and finally out to places like Federal Way and out at SeaTac, and also other communities like Gold Bar, North Bend will get those gusty winds headed their way as well during the day tomorrow. And that combined with the warm temperatures and the very dry fuels is one of the reasons that the National Weather Service has issued a fire weather watch from 5 a.m. tomorrow until 11 p.m. tomorrow. So we'll watch this very carefully. It may go to a red flag warning during the day tomorrow, so we definitely want to keep track of that. We saw some fires start over the weekend when it was relatively cool and a little bit on the damp side. Now we're going to be dry and windy, and so fires will be able to start easily and spread very quickly. So we will keep a very close watch on that. In terms of the smoke, when we get the offshore winds, we are going to be bringing some of the smoke in out of eastern Washington. You see that starts to happen later on today, and then tomorrow we do get a shot of that, but it's still pretty light smoke. It isn't going to be affecting our air quality today. You can see good air quality everywhere today, and then tomorrow we'll see the air quality be good once again, even with that light smoke haze we're going to have around the area. Take a look at the mountains, looking pretty good there at Hurricane Ridge. Still some great hiking weather up in the mountains. Starting off with a little fog you can see there at Stevens, and it's a little bit higher there at Snoqualmie Pass, but that's going to disappear quickly. A good afternoon for hiking around western Washington with sunshine and temperatures pretty comfortable. We'll peak out mostly in the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. And checking the extended forecast. So for today, we're going to be looking for the clouds. They're pretty much gone at this point. Mostly sunny this afternoon, highs around 70. Tomorrow it's going to be sunny and warm, maybe hot for some folks. We'll see those temperatures tomorrow push up into the mid to upper 80s in the warmer spots. Might even touch 90 in a couple of places, but which will be out towards the foothill areas where the winds will be, which won't be good. We'll see that cooling as we head into Wednesday back into the mid 70s and stay in the low to mid 70s with sunshine for the remainder of the week. Partly sunny on Saturday early on, increasing clouds. Could see some rain moving in later in the day or the evening on Saturday. Then decreasing showers Sunday. High temperatures in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. And as we arrive at that switch from summer into fall on the 22nd, you see it's still a pretty warm day forecast at this point, but we do see temperatures fall off a little bit as we head into next week. And also the computer model is starting to look like we might start to see a little bit wetter weather pattern develop, which you would expect for this time of the year.
Thanks, Rich. Still ahead, a check on eastern Washington and Boise's forecast and a recap of some great northern lights viewing from the weekend. Welcome back. Eastern Washington continues to deal with smoke from existing fires. Plus, there's now an increased risk for new fires to start. Regan Gallo is in Spokane with that increased risk the next few days.
Well, this is Regan Gallo in the beautiful inland northwest of Spokane, Washington. Right now, we're looking at Athol, Idaho in Silverwood, and we're getting a nice reprieve today, kind of feeling a little bit like fall, even though we're still 1 week away from official fall. Having some gray and cloudy skies in the area as we were following from rain showers yesterday, and those rain showers are still lingering in the area today. Let's look at current temperatures right now. 50 degrees in the Spokane region with 89% relative humidity. I was driving last night and there was lots of rain on the roadway, so we're going to see some of that rain this morning, but then we have the potential to burn off later today. So right now 50 in Spokane, 56 in Colville, and down south of us 60 in Lewiston. That's going to switch up later today for forecast highs of 68 in Spokane, 70 in Colville, and 71 in Lewiston. So definitely a nice reprieve from the very hot summer weather we've had the last few weeks, but it is going to warm up again starting tomorrow on Tuesday. However, I'm going to welcome this because if there's a little bit of rain, I need my grass to have some rain. And also, we're still in the middle of fire season here in the middle of September, so any rain is welcome on my watch, at least I say. Alrighty, future tracker. So right now for 12:30 p.m. or later 12:30 p.m., we're going to see some of that rain in Sandpoint still and kind of close to the Canadian border. And then as we get into later in the afternoon, 6 p.m., that's when it completely dries off, and we're going to see dry weather for the rest of the week. But what is that dry weather? Well, let's look at that temperature trend. The temperature trend today, we are below average for this time of year, September 15th, 68 degrees with some moisture in the air and in the skies. And then we see a high of 86 on our Friday. So it's going to be a beautiful Friday and into our weekend. If you have any fun plans, definitely soak up the sun because once it turns winter and fall in the inland northwest, it's cold for quite some time. Much needed rain in the September month. Right now, we are at 0.34 of inches for rainfall as of Sunday, and we are still below average of September rainfall. So I'm hoping within the next few weeks we get more of that rainfall that we need for this time of year. As we are heading into our outlook right here, our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook for September, this is looking into next week just to kind of get a larger view. We're not really colder than normal, but we're not really warmer than normal either. We're really kind of middle of the pack for our region of this area too. So I'm okay with that. And for those that are fall lovers who want to go and do their fall decorating, I say hold off just a little bit longer. And today, put those layers on. It is cold this morning. Don't let these short sleeves fool you, but then you can go ahead and take them off this afternoon as it burns up. A few other things. There are some air quality alerts for the area, and Chelan and Wenatchee, if you're going to leave the inland northwest area, as well as in northeast Washington too, kind of in the corner of Washington going towards the Canadian border. There's also a fire weather watch in the Cascade region just because of a small wind in the air with fire season still up. That is issued out from National Weather Service. Now, a few other things I want to point out today with our 7-day forecast. Like I said, we have a chance of morning rain throughout this morning, and it actually got colder this morning from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. So definitely put on that jacket. Be prepared to strip it off later if you have a light little rain jacket. 68 as the high, and like I said, it's going to get higher throughout the week. So we're going to still see a little bit of cloud coverage with some sun early in the week, and then it's going to burn off, especially by Friday. So if you have those last summer plans for September, definitely make those plans through Friday because it is going to be a beautiful day. And then as we get into next week, I see a little bit of tapering off with cooler temps again. So it's going to be a beautiful Monday, and it's going to burn off hopefully in the beautiful last few weeks of summer.
Thanks, Regan. Now let's head to Boise. Hector Mendoza is watching the forecast, plus a really cool chance that they got to see the aurora this weekend.
Well, I wanted to start off with this amazing time-lapse video that we're seeing here from places here that saw the auroras in Idaho. And this is what we saw out in places near Horseshoe Bend. Just an absolutely beautiful image there. And once those clouds made their way on out, you could see the beautiful stars up in the sky and all that activity and all those colors that we saw there. Hi, my name is Hector Mendoza, forecasting here out of Boise, Idaho. And not just at night did we see beautiful views, but even through the sunset on Sunday, we saw some amazing photos out of Idaho City, and we got plenty of sunset photos here on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page. Christopher, thank you so much for posting this, and you could see those colors there, those reds and those oranges through some of the clouds clouds and through those blue skies as well. But we are going to start to see that those sunset times are going to start to come along a little earlier, and those sunrise times are going to start to come in a little later. So today we saw that sunrise at 7:25 this morning. 7:54 is what we're expecting here tonight for that sunset time. It's closer to 7:30 as we get on towards the end of the week. And then as we get on into next week on Monday, we're expecting those times in terms of those sunrise times around 7:32, 7:41. So starting to get away from those 7:50 times and away from 8 o'clock sunsets. And definitely by the time we get towards next month, we're getting up into about 8 o'clock is when we're expecting to see that sun start to rise, and then shying away from some of those 7 o'clock times that we're seeing there for next month. So today we're expecting to see just about 12 and a half hours of daylight, and by the time we get towards October, we get under 12 hours of daylight, about an hour and 45 minutes to be exact. But as we're looking at some of the conditions here for today, we are going to see that system that brought us some of the storms there from yesterday has moved its way on into the east, has left behind some cooler temperatures there as a cold front came through yesterday, and that's what we're going to stay around for today as we kickstart the last full week of summer here with some very cool temperatures. But as we get towards the middle of the week, we're going to start to see that some of the temperatures are going to amplify due to this ridge of high pressure that's going to build on into tomorrow, and that'll continue, and it sticks around there towards the rest of the week, which is going to bring us some of the warmer temperatures. And so as we look at our upward level pattern, we'll see that the movement of the system makes its way on through, and then as we get onto Wednesday and into Thursday, those mild temperatures is what continues. They stay around the upper 80s as we get towards Friday and into Saturday before we start to cool off just a bit, as we are anticipating a system that comes on in that's going to cool off some of the temperatures, and we are expecting to see maybe a chance of some showers into Sunday. But for now, we stay dry and lots of sunshine here into the next couple of days. So as we look at the temperature trends, we start to climb up in temperature. So we're staying well below average here for today, right on par with the average there at 80 degrees. And then we start to get into the mid to upper 80s as we get closer towards the wrap up of the week. And that sticks around there for Saturday, as we are anticipating 87 degrees as we look on ahead there for our Saturday. But as we look at here at the 7-day forecast here for the mountains, again, that temperature starts to climb up. We see lots of sunshine, some patchy fog here through the next couple of mornings, and then we'll continue to see some of those clouds increase with a chance of some showers later on into Sunday. And then we'll see that sun start to return as we get closer into Monday. Here in the Twin Falls area, we're also anticipating some of the temperatures to get down into the upper 60s here for today, mid to upper 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then back into those 80s as we get from Thursday all the way through Saturday before seeing those temperatures drop just a bit. And we also see those warming temperatures back into the mid 50s here in Twin Falls. Temperatures this morning into the upper 40s there, so a much colder start here this morning than we have seen the past couple of days before we start to see those temperatures return back into the low 60s. And then we start to see those temperatures here towards the afternoon again back into the 80s. Some clouds will start to make its way through, and then we're back into those mid 80s there for Sunday. And we anticipate those drier conditions to stick around at least into Thursday and Friday.
Thanks, Hector. Still ahead after the break, Julie Martin will have a national forecast to get you going for the week. Welcome back. We showed you the weather out west. Now let's take a look at the national picture with Julie Martin.
For your Monday, we are looking at the possibility of a coastal storm in the mid-Atlantic causing some problems when it comes to flooding and some wind. Also very warm in the Midwest and the Northeast as we continue on with a mid-September heat wave, if you will. And then we're watching for some tropical development, not just yet, but could be Tropical Storm Gabrielle by about midweek. So taking a look here at our forecast highs here for your Monday, as I mentioned, that heat returning here into the Midwest. We've got 90 in Des Moines, 93 in St. Louis, high 80s in Indianapolis, and even seeing some of those 80s in through the Ohio Valley. Cleveland at 82, up into Hartford, Connecticut at 80 degrees for today. And then across the Deep South, well, pretty seasonable. We've got the 90s from Huntsville into Memphis, still staying warm on your side. And then for Texas also, you'll be feeling that heat still in the 90s, 104 in Phoenix, comfortable here in San Diego, still warm in the Sacramento Valley, but nice and comfortable, even a bit cool here across the Pacific Northwest. For your Tuesday, it looks like we will see things start to heat up a bit here in the Pacific Northwest, now up into the 80s for all of you. We'll stay warm in Phoenix, also looking at temperatures staying quite warm in the Mid-South, 90s, mid-90s from Memphis to St. Louis, and then comfortable up the I-95 corridor. We've got the 70s all the way from Charlotte to Norfolk up into Portland, Maine. So overall, pretty quiet out there. As I mentioned, dealing with a coastal storm here right off the shore here of Virginia and North Carolina. That's bringing some rain to places like Norfolk and will continue to bring a little bit of rain, maybe some coastal flooding and some wind. Also watching an area back here in the plains for any storm development later on today. So we look at the watches and the warnings out there, really pretty minimal. We do have some of those coastal advisories there in the Mid-Atlantic because of that coastal storm. Here's your severe weather threat for Monday. It looks like it's going to be confined here into the high plains, really, and that is a low-level threat, a level 1 out of 5 in places like Montana in through Colorado. We are looking at maybe some isolated storms developing there. Here's a tropical outlook. You'll notice the area in red here. Now, this is nothing just yet. It's called an INVEST, the National Hurricane Center investigating this particular area, but it does look like it's going to be moving into some conditions that are much more favorable for development over the next several days. So over the next 2 days, a 40% chance of development. Over the next 7 days, though, we do have a very high chance, an 80% chance of development, whether this becomes a tropical depression or it becomes Tropical Storm Gabrielle and then intensifies or weakens from there. It's too early to tell, but it's certainly something we will keep an eye on. Let's take you region by region. Now looks at the west. We've got the 70s warming into the 80s there in Seattle for tomorrow. Portland, you'll be warming up, as well as Spokane and Boise climbing out of the 70s into the 80s. Heading to south now, we are looking comfortable in San Diego, a bit warmer by tomorrow. Sacramento, you'll stay hot. Denver, you'll stay pretty mild, actually, dropping from the 80s all the way to the 60s. Phoenix, triple digits for you. Hot across Texas with those 90s. And then pretty seasonable across the south here. We've got the 80s and 90s in play. Mid-South going to be hot, though. We've got the mid-90s in Memphis to St. Louis. Comfortable around the Great Lakes, but warmer than average for this time of year. Pretty comfortable here across New England, a little bit on the cool side. We've got that rain there for you in Norfolk. Comfortable conditions dropping back into the 70s in DC. Buffalo, a nice forecast for you with those 80s all week long and sunshine.
After the break, if you ever find yourself in the Northwest for an event, there's a chance your venue is part of a new program using reusable cups instead of single use. I'll walk you through the large amount of trash that's been saved already so far. It's a small item per person, a cup. But cutting down cups at large venues can have big impact. A company that started in Portland and is now expanding within Seattle is using a reusable program. Here's how it works. It's a promise so big, they put it in the name.
We are very much a North Star. We're the world's most progressive, sustainable arena in the world.
B. Tree, Director of Sustainability at Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena, has worked to cut down on waste at every event. Through the last few years, turning all packaging into compostable material and diverting 90% of waste away from landfills. The new focus is cups.
Live events generate a lot of waste. So on average, we run through about 7,000 cups per event. So if we have over 150 events a year, that's over 1 million cups that were just used once and then recycled.
Climate Pledge is transitioning away from aluminum one-time use cups to reusable cups.
These cups can be used over and over and over again, proving that we can still hold large-scale live events with lower impact on the environment.
They're working with a company called Bold Reuse to clean the reusable cups. After a fan enjoys their drink, they'll dump it in a bin. Then those dirty cups are brought less than 5 miles away to this facility, where they're cleaned and sanitized, then given a final wipe down and returned.
In our quest to end single-use products, we're really looking for larger venues and corporations. That's the biggest impact.
Bold Reuse Director of Operations Barry Kubisak says in just 18 months in Seattle, they've washed over 1 million products, saving what would have been 1 million items from a landfill.
Visualize 1 million pounds of trash that we've saved from going into landfill over the past 18 months. That's huge.
Since expanding to Seattle, Bold Reuse has started dishwashing partnerships with Climate Pledge, but also the Woodland Park Zoo, both Showbox locations, the University of Washington, Seahawks training camp, Paramount Theater, and also the Kraken Community Iceplex. This location has a similar setup at the Starbucks inside.
Cups are an icon at Starbucks, and they're the most visible and meaningful obligation that we have to the environment.
Starbucks VP of Menu Experience Amelia Landers says the Iceplex is the perfect place to test a pilot. A Starbucks where it's not grab and go, but many people enjoy their drink here, so there's no need for a single-use cup. Cups are a small item for each customer, but have a large impact for the global company.
The small changes that customers can make through the choices that we offer them at Starbucks really add up to very large scale.
And while these cups may be tempting to keep for yourself,
we tried to make these as ugly as possible so that fans wouldn't consider them souvenir cups.
Both venues ask that the cups get returned to stay in circulation.
We have seen customers bring a stack of 30 cups back in at once because they've kind of sat in their kitchen, and that is totally fine.
As these major companies work to have big impact, they challenge other companies to step up and join them in making bold, reusable decisions.
We really all need to be partnering together to solve it.
All these small incremental changes, when you look at it holistically or big picture, adds up really quick.
Bold Reuse is in 7 major U.S. cities. The company notably just added the Kansas City Chiefs to their partner list. So yes, in theory, Taylor Swift will be drinking out of their cups. Here in Seattle, Climate Pledge is the first major venue to partner with the company. Lumen Field and T-Mobile are not on the list of partners. For Environment Northwest, I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West on this Monday. We will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. Have a great day.